Are you on Twitter? Get up-to-the-minute notices on new videos, site news, and more by following our Twitter account at the Cinema Snob. Of course, if it's silliness you want to, then you should also follow the most Lloyd-approved account on Twitter at Lloyd-approved, because of course that's what it's called. We're long past the era of theatrical Hellraiser movies. Now on with the era of direct-to-video Hellraiser movies that did not start out as Hellraiser movies. You know what that means.
Inferno.
Inferno.
Oh my god.
That's right, Inferno. Many ideas were pitched after the box office disappointment of Hellraiser Bloodline, one of which would have been called Hellraiser Hellfire, which would have had Kirsty battling a cult that wants to unleash Cenobites into the world. This was rejected due to budget concerns, since the movie was going direct-to-video. Even Clive Barker was dropped due to creative differences, and the two proposed follow-ups to Bloodline were dropped early on too. Don't they know the rules? Once you go into space, clearly Pinhead has to go to the hood or fight Freddy Krueger. So what we got was Hellraiser Inferno, the story of a corrupt cop who finds the box at a crime scene and searches for a mysterious killer known as the Engineer. The film was written by Paul Harris Boardsman and Scott Derrickson, with Derrickson directing, and you may know him as the director of The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil, and of course, Doctor Strange. Boo on Marvel for not writing in big words from the director of Hellraiser Inferno. That would have put me there in seconds. If you think about it, Pinhead and Doctor Strange are practically the same character. One shows you such sights as chains ripping the flesh off your bones, and the other fills your house with portable holes. The script for Inferno wasn't even originally intended to be a Hellraiser movie, but was rewritten to be a Hellraiser 5. Just like the time Bad Lieutenant was rewritten to be a sequel to Leviathan. Of course, it was put out by Miramax, so it was still nominated for 12 Oscars that year. While the opening titles look a little more like the intro on the website that's promoting the movie, it has very smooth, relaxing music playing, until the threatening music kicks in at ironically the right moment. Oh, you opened the wrong box! Pinhead is way more trustworthy! Craig Sheffer plays Detective Joseph Thorne. He's a detective so hard-ass that it's a good thing we don't see him beating the shit out of these kids whenever they knock over his chess table. Guys, you can't just hit the button. You have to actually play. And remember folks, the more crooked the cop, the more there's a chance he'll provide narration.
Even as a little kid, I was always one to examine things closely.
I also always wanted to be a gangster, but that was also rewritten as another movie. And with Nicholas Turturro there, who knew it counts as a Hellraiser sequel and an NYPD Blue crossover? Here at the crime scene, things went really bad at the orgy. There they were with their masks on when he suddenly exploded due to having his ass packed with firecrackers instead of cucumbers. There's clues all over the place here. Gentlemen, the first thing we need to do is question this so-called Ishmael. This is like a pilot for a show called Drug Cop. He solves crimes with the help of drugs being hidden at the crime scenes. And that's not the most disturbing thing there. It's the child's finger and the edits.
It's a child's finger.
What was the editor's note there? Okay, I know there isn't a zoom there, but can you add one? I'm also really on drugs. He finds the puzzle box at the crime scene, which I wonder what it was in the original script. Was it a Rubik's Cube? No matter, time to end a long, hard day of work with a long, hard night of sex. This is like a Cinemax movie that is honestly just kinda tired and wants to go to bed. But I think that voice in his head is making him sneak outside.
I believe in loyalty, fidelity.
And in Miracles, where are you from, you sexy thing? Thorne has everything on the crooked cop checklist. Drug addiction, spends his nights banging hookers. Also, if they could dress like an 80s hooker movie like Vice Squad, that would make it even better. But really, he just gets hookers to impress them with his amazing sleight of hand tricks. Now to play Where's My Dick? Great, the movie's jerking off so hard it just broke a blood vessel. Oh yeah, he also drinks too. He's really lacking in the cigarette department though. We should have seen him smoke a whole pack by now. Maybe that's what he's gonna open the box for. You know, on second thought, maybe it wasn't a good idea for me to hold on to this piece of evidence. Why do I even have this? They had to lower the budget in a lot of areas. In this movie, when you open the box, you're given another cozy room to lie down in. It's a very sleepy movie, largely due to the drugs and alcohol. That's not even part of the movie. The film just gives you a contact high while you're watching it. I think this is very quickly turning into the Hellraiser porn parody. I should have known from the poster. Not only is it called Inferno, but it looks like Pinhead is stepping into a steam room where he's ready to shred that ass like lettuce and cover it with hot man dressing. Sorry, what's going on in this house? Oh, I get it. It's also written as an Elm Street movie, just in case. But luckily, Pinhead came to the set that day. Welp, I'm giving up the drugs. Alright, so the dead body was torn apart by hooks, but that's obvious shit. We need some witty cop banter interrupted by weird shit.
Detective Thorne.
It's Daphne. And the girl you were with last night.
You didn't tip the hooker, did you? Once again, his partner should hang back. He's gonna Josh Brolin the hell out of this case on his own. On second thought, he needs someone to be a dick to. That way he can send in his partner to find in whatever horrible imagery is in the shower.
What the fuck? What the fuck do you mean you stayed there last night? Jesus Christ!
The pipes, they're all rusty. There was a roach in the tub, pubic hair on the toilet. Jesus, Joe! No time for dead hookers. Gotta clean Joe's fingerprints off the crime scene. That way we can blame the whole thing on Barabbas. Also, this doesn't count as him smoking. We can't show him smoking, but we can show a dead hooker. Well, that is what he paid for. Honestly, this is a pretty good detective story that just happens to have Pinhead in it. I'm kinda into where this case is leading. Once it leads to a tattoo and body piercing parlor, it's like a better sequel to 8mm than that movie they tried passing off as a sequel to 8mm. Weirdly, Tattoo Frankenstein isn't the killer. He just simply gave the murder victim the box from a killer known as the Engineer. As you do. Unfortunately, this is where the drugs really start kicking in.
So are you gonna frisk me or fuck me?
And it's starting to feel way more like the box cover. Drugs kicking in, though, is just an excuse to get more drugs, and to find out about the Engineer, if there's time. But if you don't, have a dreamsicle. I'm gonna have to cut there, because like every ice cream truck, it's covered with pictures of naked women. But when we come back, I can show you the demon cowboys, I promise.
The entire population of Twin Peaks wants you to stay tuned.
Ugh, between the flashbacks showing a severed head in a man's bed, Detective Thorne does not need a bigger headache today.
I want to tell the captain about Daphne. I want to tell him what we did.
I thought all the narcs worked in a different department. So you know all that stuff he planted at the crime scene? That was his partner's. That way he could use it as blackmail so his partner doesn't rat him out.
You fucking scumbag.
And he's taking it fairly well, considering. But I'm 10 steps ahead of these cops. If you get a videotape during a movie like this, there's a 100% chance it's going to be a snuff film. Huh, sure, put it on in public for the whole bar to see. Huh, okay, I wasn't wasn't expecting that tie-in either. I see the tape could possibly reveal the identity of the killer. Unfortunately, it doesn't narrow it down, because I swear I've seen this demon in every demon possession film of the last 20 years. But one thing we do need to bring back, crooked cops in movies who say normal sentences with brooding intensity.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go lie down and talk about my childhood.
Dude would sound scary while simply ordering fries and a milkshake from McDonald's. How dark and twisted is this universe? The psychiatrist he's sent to is James Remar? Well, okay. I think we found out who one of the villains is.
Close-up magic. I bet your daughter loves that.
He's Pinhead. Not that everyone else in the movie isn't also creepy.
Children are the only sacred thing left in this world. And most of these little ones were gone for good.
I keep their souls in my balls. Luckily, they're hauling in anyone to the station who looks like this. We found him on set of The Unholy.
Hey, yourself, detective. What's a freaking problem?
You're gonna have to curse harder than that if you want to remain in this precinct, officer. They are on the case to find more editing notes. Look, just put in some post effects to make it shake. They're driving really fast, so it has to shake all over the place. If he's looking for demons, he knows where to go. The saloon from Carmen's Satan Bite the Dust.
Party's over. Shut it down. I'm hunting for someone, y'all.
Color me intrigued. Is this a Western now? Who is this strange cowboy who knows the engineer?
You like to play games, don't you, detective? The engineer likes games.
I feel like I'm watching Mulholland Drive if the pilot version was picked up by the USA Network. I have no idea where this is going, but it has a possible Cenobite dressed as a cowboy. How can I get mad at this movie? It's not the creepy hell spawns that are making this run through the woods weird. It's that it's supposed to be 2 a.m., but clearly looks like 2 in the afternoon, amongst other baffling imagery.
'Cause I represent a whole new breed of Christian of today.
What is happening? Cowboy demons in a karate fight with crooked cop Craig Sheffer. I'm of the opinion all of the remaining Hellraiser movies should have been based on Scott Derrickson scripts.
Still gonna find that child. That, I suspect, is the object of the game.
Look, if you hire an actor from Lost Highway, it'll definitely keep turning into a David Lynch film. Although I think this one might be called Motion Sickness Highway.
Turn it off. Turn it off!
They often quote lines from hardcore when they're on a long drive. He's going to the right place. Look, Doc, can you just admit you're Pinhead so we can get this over with? I mean, you clearly know about the engineer.
When I was first on the force, I heard about somebody called the engineer.
Oh shit, he's on to me. Plus, James Remar has a file on all of his villainous roles from the past, from 48 Hours to the Dream Team. And he offers foreshadowing for free, like the story of a cop who shot himself when investigating the engineer and left behind the box. I think I know where this is going, and if I don't, the narration will help.
I live in a world of facts.
And the fact is, this coffee needs more sugar. Oh right, he forgot he has a wife and child. Sorry I'm late, honey. Now time for his nightly routine of drinking a whole bottle of Robitussin. It's the only way to see Pinhead for sure. Wait, no, you got the generic store brand. And seriously, no phone calls.
That was her mother. She said that she had a visitor. I think that she said he was some kind of engineer.
Oh god, Nikola Tesla's found us again. Now he's got to deal with the parents. He severely regrets putting them in the cheapest hospice he could find. It's very hard for the doctors to do their jobs, with the hallways turning into music videos. And when this happens...
What a fine-looking boy.
Just another day at the Overlook Hospital. He came to save his parents, but what he found was another guilt trip.
You guys okay?
Why don't you visit us, Joe? He gets a little worse every day.
Because this place is a stone-cold bummer! And it's a little too close to his family home. The parents living in the next room is gonna be very hard on the marriage, especially with killers present. Don't have to pay those nursing home bills anymore. Also, the Puppet Master may be controlling this, because now we've rewound the events back 10 minutes.
I think that she said he was some kind of an engineer.
Oh god, in reality it's Thomas Edison. This time though, his parents are missing. Excellent. The place is still a bummer, but at least he doesn't have to hear the guilt trip again. Also, his dad may have been turned into a bed. His parents are always leaving behind weird things they find at antiques malls, like fingers and a strange address. Needless to say, people are now starting to think that Joseph himself is the engineer. Largely because of his rudeness. By the way, 416 Hawthorne Lane sounds like it could have been a possible title for the original script. But as he sneaks into Elizabeth Ashley's apartment from windows, on the bright side, Tony knows that Joe's not the killer now. With people around him dying, obviously the family is gonna be next. But honestly, in Hellraiser terms, they got off fairly easily. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. James Remar is in on this? And are the bodies gonna keep talking? It's really awkward. Oops, sorry. It gets weirder when the child's fingers left behind at the crime scenes are Joe's own fingerprints. This movie is an interesting take. It's like if Hellraiser was a procedural where Pinhead solves mysteries. Speaking of procedurals.
And now it's time for Lloyd's Out of Context 911 Lone Star Clip of the Week.
You know how you keep asking me not to leave incense burning in my room?
Oh no.
And that was the opening scene!
Now that we're back, you don't need me to tell you who the psychiatrist is. I knew it. He's a script rewrite. But what's his role in this story?
Who I am is no concern of yours.
I mean, it kinda is. On with this fever dream through his past, his childhood home isn't so bad. He has nice farm artwork outside his window. Also, is this where we find out he grew up to be the killer from Pieces? This is what we all did in the past. Watched nothing but Vietnam stock footage and read about Nixon. One more script to rewrite and you could have turned this into the Hellraiser Christmas Carol. It's a typical childhood, eating brownies, and then a massive earthquake happens. Then the guilt trip again.
We never see you anymore.
Again, Mom, you're weird. This movie is a long way to go to tell him he never should have stayed in room 1408. I like how people keep returning to essentially call him a dickhead.
I trusted you.
Maybe it's time you two weren't partners anymore. This is a lot of people screwing with him, which always ends with him blasting them with a shotgun. That's peculiar. Normally this isn't the kind of door you'd want to go into, but it's not like it's gonna be any more disturbing no matter where he goes. I'm still holding out hope that this is all being controlled by the Brightburn version of Doctor Strange. Not only does he see himself as a kid with missing fingers, but he sees himself as... I thought that's where this was going. I still have no idea what's going on. And using chess analogies isn't gonna help me. I don't know how to play chess. From what I gather here, the engineer is the monster Joseph grew up to be and is murdering his own innocence. In other words...
Welcome to hell.
As long as there's still drugs and hookers. Or is he in hell? He is severely going to change his life. From now on, he'll cut his drug use in half and only see 2 hookers a week. But when he gets a phone call from earlier in the film, he has to shoot himself like the psychiatrist predicted. So that way, he's cursed to live with his demons forever. No! Don't worry, there's still more Hellraiser movies after this. I mean, Joseph Thorne isn't in them, but still.
So, this is the first direct-to-video Hellraiser movie? Well, I must say, I kinda liked it. You could tell the Hellraiser connections were added in later, but it still sorta works in the story. The movie is like this weird hybrid of Hellraiser, Jacob's Ladder, Bad Lieutenant, and a David Lynch movie. It does make a good double feature with Scott Derrickson's other movie, Deliver Us from Evil, which was also a cop movie crossed with a horror film. It almost feels like a pilot of an anthology series, which would have revolved around different tales of the puzzle box. That's pretty much what the next few movies are, as 2 years later we got Hellraiser Hellseeker, another entry in the Hellraiser / Jacob's Ladder universe. I'll get to that soon enough, but next week I should watch something happier to liven up my mood, like, Saw or something.
Sir, wait!